you get the outline?
I did. I can actually look at the outline.
I feel so bad. Like I was gonna get that to you much earlier today, but I was like at work and it was crazy. I was like, at my lunch, I was like, I can either make the graphic or I can look on the outline.
You thought we can get me a rough.
It's a bit crazy.
You just hit hard on it.
Man, it's really hard to hear you guys.
Geez.
For real?
Yeah.
Even without the headphones?
You said go try to get some other headphones?
I said even without the headphones?
Yeah. If you're talking like that, I can hear you.
Okay, maybe we might just. How about now? You hear that? All right.
It's better.
Okay.
Well,
I don't know what's going on.
Might just have to speak up a little bit for this one. Do you have any wired headphones?
I don't even know if I have a wired port on this phone.
It's like Steve
Yeah,
Jobs.
I use these headphones every single day, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just have the same problem with my my wireless headphones. I can't hear whenever I do a podcast.
Wait a second. You know what it is? I'm an idiot.
Hold on.
Yep, that's why it's on the intro.
What?
It should be better now.
Can you hear us now better?
Yeah, what was it?
I had it was picking up on, I had the input as the computer mic and not these mics. So we can hear ourselves fine because it's monitored in through the interface.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on?
I was like, it sounds fine to us.
Yeah, I was like, man, this
There we
is
go.
weird. Okay. Now
So
we're
it was
good.
all in a.
All right,
Jake
let's
had me
roll
all
with this.
Flustered.
God,
Got me.
Jesus.
Got me going.
Yeah, see, me being here now, I've been doing this from home for so many weeks. And then I feel like we haven't done...
I've had your camera pointed at the wall forever and your mic all folded in and...
We haven't done...
There's dust on his seat.
It's also been like, what, 3 weeks since the THP episode?
I think the cat's been in that chair more than you have.
Oh, jeez. Well, things have been crazy. Okay.
They have been crazy.
And
you've been busy.
Gas prices are going up. And I live 30 minutes away, so... Gonna try to go to like a every other week thing though, of doing it from home 1 week, then coming here 1 week, because I do prefer to be here, but it is expensive.
It's also nice to be able to just like log in and do your thing, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yep.
all good.
But it's also nice to come see you, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Even though you won't take the Barons with you?
No, I won't take the Barons with me.
Okay.
I'm already getting a pair.
Anyways, regardless of what's going on, we're back. This is episode 178. 8?
Yeah.
It is 178 of the Herpetoculture Podcast, which is brought to you by BlackBox Cages. Check them out. Facebook, Instagram, blackboxcages.com.
Best of the best.
Got the Ackies all set up. Had to make some adjustments. Put in the new lay box. They got like a 5-gallon tote lay box now.
Oh, fancy.
So I had to like completely rearrange the cage how I had it set up initially. Still got to edit the video and put that up of the whole process.
Yeah, I need to come in and see it before I leave today.
And
come check it out.
They're loving it, man. Like I think it was the female. I turned on the lights this morning and she just like half of her body was hanging off the shelf, just right under the heat bulbs.
Nice.
She was just soaking it up. So
is she pretty handleable or?
No, they're still pretty shy. So
you've only had them for what, a year or two?
It's been, I think it was just a year as of like a week or two ago.
Yeah, you keep working on it. Monitors just take a while.
I'm hoping that this bigger cage will feel a little more secure because they'll have more places to sort of hide and stuff, and they'll sort of build some confidence up. They're on like they're on the edge. Like they will come, like they know that I have food, and so they'll come up to the glass and they'll like scratch at it and stuff. But as soon as I open that door, they're like, "Oh, never mind," and take off.
Yeah, if they have a place to retreat where they could like shove themselves in something tight, they love that. You know, it helps them build that confidence knowing that you can't just go in there and grab them out.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, there's a smaller flat, not a piece of slate or anything, but it's a smaller, flatter rock that's in there, and the female somehow like decided that was her spot.
Balloons up.
I don't know how she got in there, man. Like it's crazy. The ability that they can shove themselves in such thin areas
Yeah,
and
I
not
know, it's
suffocate.
crazy.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's cool. I have the green tree monitors too, and they could fit through. I had a hole in the middle divider for like my thumb, so I could slide it up and out for the door. And when I first put the females in there, they would slip through the hole, and it was only about like an inch diameter. They can't do that now, but
yep, they went from like a 50-gallon equivalent tub with a Python portal from Brahms on the front to a 4 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot black box cage.
yeah, lizards grow fast.
They do, man. It's unbelievable. Like looking at pictures from when I first got them, they were so small, and now I'm like, what the hell? Like, it's like you blink and they're huge.
A lot of lizards could breed at like a year or 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've heard it's if I recall, someone said Ackies have bred at really young ages.
Yeah, like
and
6 months, a year.
I've seen the male chase the girl around before, and it wasn't happening for him. I can tell you that, and she wasn't allowing it.
Yeah,
so. But he's been trying. No, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, with the temperatures dropping up here in the Pacific Northwest, I'm starting to see my male. He's interested in the female again. I don't want him to breed quite yet. I just have a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
where'd Brats go?
I think he had a phone call. Oh, he's back. There he is. Jesus, I thought you were a podcast host.
I'm sorry. It was important.
It's all good.
I'm sorry. I'm here.
What did the herpes test come back negative?
Yeah, luckily.
Okay.
We're good.
He said we're good. It's just a cold sore. We're good.
Yeah.
So blackboxcages.com. Check them out. We both have cages and racks from them, and we love them. Can't say enough good things about them.
They're the freaking best, man. If you want to see how good they are, you can go on our YouTube channel. We did a video showing all my equipment from them. And it just shows you how awesome it is. The craftsmanship is bar none, man. The cages.
I've been looking at those. They look nice.
Yeah, dude. They're absolutely fantastic.
There's so many companies going out of business right now, but BlackBox, their look is just clean. I like that,
man. And it's so sturdy, man. And Justin, having built this one, I mean, I've gotten flat packs from another company before, and like they just turned out like not that good. Like there's always something super tight, like I have to latch the two ends before I can latch the one in the middle, or it catches, all that crap. But Justin's is just as good as the one that I got, because I have a 3x2x2 cage from them, and like that was obviously immaculate. But him having built his, it came out exactly the same.
I was amazed I didn't screw it up at any point while I was building it, because I'm not good at that kind of stuff, like building things and following instructions clearly. And so the fact that I could put it together and I didn't have a single like screw go weird, or like go at an angle it wasn't supposed to, or have any extra screws or extra gaps and things I shouldn't have, like it was, if I can do it,
leftover parts.
Yeah.
No, I'm a contractor, and I still mess it up all the time too. I'm like I just snap things in half all the time.
Yeah,
I'm a big guy, so I don't need to. But
my dad's an engineer. You would think I would get some sort of genetic feedback there, and I got anything that involves like math. I got none of it.
Yeah,
like it's rough. So check out BlackBox, and then if you need some awesome Venom hot sauce, go to stevesnaketuary.com. If you get the hot sauces from Steve, you're helping him with all of his public education, public outreach, relocations. He does rescues. He just recently, I think, got an iguana that seems like he's having a lot of fun with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he got a picture of it, like licking his face like a dog.
Oh, I need to look at that. I've been so bad about Instagram and all that stuff, dude.
I'm over it.
Yeah, social media is exhausting, but
I don't know about y'all, but I go through sort of waves where I'm like, yeah, it's cool. And then I go through periods where I'm like, delete it all. Like just destroy, find the main computer, find the server, that they
Destroy.
operate off of and destroy it.
Yeah.
Save humanity. Just
Yeah.
wipe it.
Yeah, I've been in it's actually been a while. I definitely obviously when I went through my sabbatical, I wasn't posting at all for like a year, but even lately, dude, I've just been I've been so busy with everything else. I find myself having to think about taking the time to go make a post and do stuff, and I don't know.
I'm definitely not on it as much as I was when I was working at the shop because I'm.
Yeah,
like
you're actually
9 to 5,
You're actually
I'm
working
moving,
now. Yeah, no, and that's the other thing. Work's been freaking nuts. I've been nonstop at work, and then I get home and I'm dealing with snakes nonstop. And then by the time I'm done dealing with snakes, my girl's home and I want to hang out with her. So it's just, and I try not to be on my phone a lot when we're hanging out. Try take our time and stuff. So it's just been just social media kind of hits the back burner, and if I have a little time, I get on there and I try and message people as often as possible. But me and Skylar message almost daily, but he'll message me and I'll take like 2 days to respond because I just haven't been on there, and I don't know.
Yeah. It's to the point now where Katie will text me and she won't hear back from me for like 3 hours because I'm just at work. Don't even feel my phone going off. Just constant. So
yeah.
We have some new shirts available. Jake is wearing one. New THP shirts. I have. So a lot of them went really fast.
Yeah, that was
actually
really
surprised.
cool. I'm not gonna lie.
And of course,
you sold the one you were gonna make for you were supposed to make for me. It was
all the larges and extra larges that were the first to go.
Yeah.
And now I have a bunch of smalls. So lesson learned there. Which I should have known in the first place because I tell people at work all the time, don't get too many of the extreme sizes.
Yeah.
Keep to the middle. And I didn't do that because I was like, smalls will go. Medium, sure.
Nah.
Medium, large, extra large. All of that military green was the first one to
really
go too. Yeah.
I would have thought more people. Yeah. I saw that. So I get all the notifications. Justin does all the messaging. So I try to stay out of it, but I get all the notifications from people messaging. And I saw yours that you got the military green one, and I was like, all right,
yeah,
sweet.
Yeah, stoked. You guys got big boy sizes too. So
yeah, man. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, I'm super stoked about everybody picking up shirts, man. Especially because, dude, these are so much better than the Teespring ones that we got.
Teespring
sucks.
The
quality of this, there's so much more detail in everything, like in the snake. And then I noticed the THN logo you put up top there. That's new from the last round of shirts we sold, because when we were doing that, we weren't a network yet. So yeah, I'm super pumped about these things, man.
And they were made by me.
Yeah.
By hand.
I still want an ice gray one whenever.
I ordered some navy ones. I'm gonna do navy with that same yellow on it because that always seems like a nice combination. And then I got one. They called it natural, which I don't know what that means. So
skin.
That's. I hope not.
You're just gonna look like you're naked with a THP logo on you. It's gonna be great.
But the military green ones, the next round are definitely gonna be having into those because a lot of people, and I guess it kind of makes sense because military green is kind of a color that works for just about everybody.
Yeah, it looks good on a lot of people.
So, and I know a lot of people are kind of getting away from black. I will never get away from black shirts.
I love black shirts.
But
I like gray. I'm very partial to gray. I went with sand for my personal, my long leaf shirts, because I like the tan color. Kind of goes with the long leaf aspect of things. So I went with that. But I love black and I love gray. That's like my staple. But yeah, I'm surprised more people didn't get the classic, because these are kind of what this is what the actual logo kind of looks like, is yellow,
black.
So I'm surprised more
maybe
people
they already have one of the originals.
If they got one of the original ones from Teespring, Godspeed, man.
Godspeed. Yeah, you probably can't hardly see the logo anymore on that sucker.
I had a few.
No, it's not bad.
From Teespring that I washed them in the within 2 washings, the art and the ink had completely just disappeared.
Yeah.
My original THP one, it's still holding up all right. I didn't lose any of the the logo yet, but the one that I got, they sent it to me, and like the logo is like this weird lime green color, and it was supposed to be yellow, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, this isn't right at all, you know, like. So yeah, I don't know. It is what it is.
If anyone is looking to get shirts made, hit me up.
Yeah. And I'm probably gonna do a round of long leaf shirts if anybody is interested here soon. Probably gonna do a make to order first. So if anybody wants those, hit me up. I'm gonna make a list first and then probably place the order. That way I'm not getting a bunch of extras that people don't need.
Like me?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Like, let me know what you want. Give me a couple weeks. I'll get them made and send them all out. So probably gonna make a post about that soon. So
cool.
Look out for it.
Well, this week, if you're watching this, then you already know who we're joined by. If you're listening to this, we are joined by Mr. Randy Pegues.
Piggies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man. You told me that last time, and I just
That's all
First
right.
time. First
I
time.
always tell
First
people
time.
it's like the three little piggies. That's how it's pronounced.
Okay.
And it was me
nice.
and my two other brothers, so it was three of us. So
no.
There you go. That works.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's all right. I get called brats all the time.
Yeah.
Even I call them that sometimes by accident. It just slips out.
Yeah.
Brats.
No, I
No,
don't appreciate
Doesn't offend me at all.
it. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was like pegs.
Yeah.
Not
in
how
high school
Justin
they
said it, but I thought
in
it
high
was
school they
pegs.
called me Pegasus because they just gave up, you know.
There you
And I
go.
was
Yeah.
like, all right, we'll
I'll
see.
tell you, you can take that, you know. At least your last name isn't spelled like a fucking doll.
Yeah.
But
With the fucking big eyes.
yeah, no, dude, we made millions off that when that shit came
I would have
out.
sued or something.
Dude,
That's
I was
crazy.
pissed. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, can we
Trademark.
not do something to this? So, like, as
Just-
a family, like, this is
Class
messed
action
up,
lawsuit
dude.
or
Like, come on. So now, like, so I take a bunch of classes for work, and we have to like introduce ourselves normally. And so whenever I type it out, I'm like, hey, my name is Jacob Bratz. And
With
in
a Z.
parentheses, yeah, I know. In parentheses, I put pronounce like the sausage, not the doll. And yeah, people get the hint. So
That's funny.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I pronounce it that way just because of like 4 years of Spanish in high school and college. That just naturally is
Yeah.
Pegues is like what I.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Pegasus or Pegues. Yeah. I
But
get that a lot.
Yeah.
what's happening? How's it up there in the PNW?
Oh, I'm always busy, man. You know, I got 5 kids and 2 businesses and a room
Oh,
full of
wow.
snakes and starting on fish tanks now too. And I just always do. I don't watch TV much. I just listen to podcasts is what I'm addicted to, and I just always do something. But yeah, I got a lot of snakes in here right now.
Sounds like you don't have time for TV, man. Between the
I don't have
snakes
time for
and
anything.
5 kids. I didn't know you had 5 kids, man.
Yep.
That's a
3
load.
boys and 2 girls.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yep.
I was good with one.
Nah, it's crazy, man. People are like, "How do you do it?" I'm like, "I don't know. Just one day at a time. I don't die, and just go the next day."
Yeah, I just go every day without trying to lose my shit.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I feel that. I
But-
have 0 kids, and
We struggle just to get one to school on time in the morning.
Mhm.
I'm sure you get in a
You get
routine.
in just a
though.
rhythm, you know.
Yeah.
You just get in a rhythm. However, like you're like, how am I going to do life with one kid? And you have one kid and you figure it out, and then you have a second kid and you figure it out. It's going to be easy when they're out of the house, but you know,
Oh yeah,
right now it's a lot of work.
nice. And so you own 2 businesses?
Yeah, I'm a co-owner of 2 businesses, a small construction company and then also a painting company.
Oh, nice. Painting where
Yeah.
it's at, man. I know that. I know
Painting,
business.
my painting business is doing pretty well.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I work in the construction field. I'm your inspector in the field. You know.
Oh,
but,
fun! Love you
yeah.
guys.
No,
My
I
inspector just texted me before I got on here. Approved. I'm like, I better be freaking approved. You were supposed to check it this morning.
Nice. Do you guys deal with any stormwater stuff out there? Do you have like stormwater inspectors?
Oh yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I do. I'm a stormwater guy. So.
Okay, yeah. I probably wouldn't deal with you as much. Then I do a lot of work in the county, you know, but
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just kind of sneak on site real quick, make a quick walk around.
They
and
hired him like that because he's small and he's fast. Like they don't even notice him. He could be there for hours and they wouldn't.
He can get in, get out.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
He's like
man.
a little
I'm in
rat
and out.
scurrying between debris and stuff.
Oh yeah.
You've been doing that for a while though, right?
Yeah, I've been in stormwater for 4 years now. I've been an inspector for a little over 2. I was on the infrastructure side of things for a while, mapping out a lot of drainage and stuff like that. But I became an inspector a little over 2 years ago.
Right on.
So yeah,
That's good.
It's been good.
Congrats.
It's busy as all get out. I'm managing like 302 inspections right now in my county. So
that's a hard job to be, man. My brother's
Yeah.
an energy inspector, and he always just gets the shit out of the stick. You know, like none of us, like we get you. It's your job, you know, but we don't want you there. You know,
Yeah, nobody
no
likes
offense, but
yeah, no, absolutely none taken. Nobody likes us.
yeah, but it's got to happen.
Yeah, luckily I've made a pretty good I've made a pretty good reputation with most of my contractors, and they like me for the most part because I'm not heavy-handed until they ignore me, and then I kind of have to be a dick. But if you respond to me, I'll respond to you, and we work together well. So
that's all that's needed.
Make it as painless as possible.
Yeah,
open communication.
Yeah, no, because if you screw me over, then it's a whole lot more paperwork for me. So I don't want to do that. So it is what it is. But anyway,
snakes, man.
Yeah, as well as say snakes. That's what we're here for.
What's the usual intro stuff? Because I mean, we've talked a good bit over the over the last couple of years.
Yeah. You and me just say like how I got into it, or
just your.
Sure. All right. So, I mean, I've kind of just been into small animals my whole life, like since I was a kid, my mom's always got me something. I remember asking for snakes as a young kid, but of course I always got the, no, you can't have snakes. So I had everything else, frogs, turtles, mice. When I had mice, I just had this fascination of breeding them all the time.
Right.
So I just would breed them at a young age, and then I'd give them away to the pet store.
Oh, okay.
Well, through teenage years and stuff like that, you kind of get out of that as much, but I still always loved animals.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was with my ex-wife, I was just kind of feeling like everyone was like, well, what do you want for your birthday? And I was like, I don't know. And I just walked into a PetSmart and I was like, I'm going to get a python. Yeah. And I just set it up one day and then went onto YouTube. This was probably like 2006 or 2007, and went onto YouTube. And YouTube wasn't as like popular as it is now with everything, but there's still quite a bit of people on there. And I jumped through those rabbit holes like crazy.
Yeah, I almost missed those days, man. Like it wasn't the clickbait stuff, like it was just like it was content and everybody only cared about
informational stuff. Like we were just sharing our experiences. Most people didn't edit videos, like you could probably still go on and see my old stuff. Please don't, but it's there, but it was just me like showing like each animal I had, how I set them up, like how many people back in 2010 were showing green tree python care videos or whatever, so I did a couple of those,
Mm-hmm.
But once YouTube got that like sensationalized, I just lost taste because I'm not one of those trendy people. I always want to go against the grain. That's just kind of how my personality is.
Right.
So I mean, and I got ball pythons at first too. I got into those. They're awesome. They're good snakes. I kind of fell in the rabbit hole of the morphs at first. Back in the day, where pieballs were still kind of the thing, so I was just getting into some codoms and stuff like that. But in conjunction with that, I was just kind of amassing a collection of other animals. Started breeding some leopard geckos, and that was pretty easy and exciting for me to see like the whole process, and then I wanted to breed the ball pythons, but I also started collecting some green tree pythons on the side, just some imports.
Mm-hmm.
So the imports, I was actually had them all set up in my garage, and it dropped in temperature outside so low that it was like 60 degrees inside my reptile room, and I was freaking out, like I didn't have enough heat to keep everything going. The green tree pythons were kind of like drooped over their perches. I thought I was going to lose everything. But actually that sparked my males, and they went crazy from there. And he just bred everything. And that's when I got my first clutch. I actually bred green tree pythons, was the first snakes that I bred.
No way.
Yeah, I bred
That's
Condors
awesome.
first, and in that same year, I produced ball pythons. The next year, I got rid of all the ball pythons.
Yeah, for sure.
They're cool. It's just it wasn't for me, Like I just wanted a little bit more challenge.
Right.
And
no,
the species in itself.
Yeah, no, and I mean we all, we I'm not gonna say we talk smack about ball pythons, but we throw in our little stuff there. But ball pythons are great animals, like
They're
they're
gateway drug.
fantastic pets. Like they are,
it's a
they're
low hanging fruit. It's
yeah,
just easy
they're
easy
great.
target.
I have a ball python still, just a normal old spurge. Everybody knows about old
spurge.
Yeah, he just hangs out, but he's so easy, man. If I just if somebody's over and they just want to hold a snake, that's not gonna run, be all crazy, whatever. I'll take him out, put him in their hands, like it's nothing, and they're great snakes, but they're definitely not like once you really get into certain things, you kind of branch out a little bit. Yeah, no, they're great for some people, but it's completely understandable when you want to kind of branch out a little bit. But
yeah, I mean that is a downfall for me. Like I have friends, they're like, hey, can I bring my kid over and they can hold some snakes? And I'm like, they could try. You
have to sign this waiver beforehand, though, just so you.
I mean, I got some Dominicans, and they'll probably shit on you, and then I got Amazons, they'll definitely bite you, and green trees, they'll bite you too.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But the thing is I work with the animals enough where I'm pretty confident with them, and I can kind of let the kids hold it with me.
Yeah.
So. I still let them come over, and then I have my kids, they all have their own little pets. So like right now there's some hognose and some splotched Honduran milk snakes, and some other stuff that my house snakes. My kids have some stuff. So
nice, man. That's really cool that you get your kids involved in that.
Oh yeah, they don't have a choice. They come to all the expos with me and stuff. I've been vending since like 2011 or something like that. Nice. So. Yeah, even though I don't like do the business thing, like a lot of people get into it, this is like fun for me. So I just piggyback off friends, and we just do shows together, and I help them out and they help me out, and we just have a good night. Good weekend.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I feel like with the kid thing, like it's either one way, one extreme or the other. Like they're either super into the reptiles, they love it because their parents are into it, or their parent is into it, whatever, or they're like, no, I'm good, like not my thing, like dad, you can have that, like so it's cool that they got into it.
There's a definite mix, like my son Zeke, he's like, nah, I'm not into the animals. He has a tortoise, but he doesn't want to take care of it,
Yeah, no, that's all.
So,
good.
But the other ones, my son Landon collects. He has a whip scorpion and a tarantula.
Wow.
And I'm not really into that stuff, but I can't be a hypocrite, So I'm like, okay, well, do your research and we'll figure out which one won't escape and freak me out,
Yeah. Okay.
What tarantula does he have right now?
I think it's a Phonophelma, or the brown.
Yeah.
Texas brown, maybe.
Yeah, Oklahoma brown, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. I mean,
those are cool.
Yeah, we got it from a spider shop.
Mm-hmm.
He comes up to the local shows, so Landon talked to him, and they went through and they were holding each spider, and he kind of, because he wanted a red knee, but he kind of talked him out of it. He's like, if you want to hold it, let's go this route. So he did really well with them.
Yeah,
good.
seeing some of those in Texas was cool because that was the first like
Yeah.
tarantula I've ever seen in the wild, and like just
How big
kind
do
of
they
seeing them
get?
hold up. Not very.
No,
Like diameter wise,
like his is maybe like that
yeah,
big.
that'd be about an adult.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they don't get huge.
Eat like a cockroach, and that's about it.
Yeah.
My first and only experience handling a tarantula was a buddy of mine in Texas. He was living at he was going to Texas A&M in Corpus Christi, and he was living in a dorm, and he was keeping a pink toe in there. He wasn't supposed to
That's a
have
weird
anything like
feeling.
that. Yeah, and it was like he was like, dude, come on, man, she's chill, you know, you can hold it. I was like, I don't know, man, like I don't really
Yeah.
do spiders, you know, but like I eventually like grew a set, and you know, I had him put it in my hand, and it was actually really cool. Like,
Mhm.
definitely not
They weigh
something.
nothing.
Yeah, definitely not something I'm gonna seek out, but like it really changed my perspective. Like if something's
Yeah.
chill, and it'll just kind of go
Mhm.
around, like I'm cool with it. And it was actually it was really neat. You know, I haven't held one since.
Well,
But
how
you
many
know,
times do we tell people, like the other version, the other side of snakes, like, hey, snakes aren't that bad. And we're over here saying spiders are horrible. Like
yeah.
there's another side to them too. We're just not used to.
Yeah, I always tell people that, like, you know, whenever I'm into snakes, you know, we get into it, and I'm like, yeah, those arachnid people though, they can stay over there, you know.
Oh,
But
the
it's
centipedes.
obviously,
Oh,
Yeah,
oh
see,
god,
I draw the
no,
line at centipedes, man.
can't do that. Can't do centipedes. Nope.
but yeah, I used to live in Corpus too, man. I lived.
Oh really?
Yeah, I went to Grant Middle School and then Flower Bluff when I lived on the base.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I lived in
it was a nice
Corpus.
area, South
Yeah,
Padre Island and stuff.
it's cool. It was a little too busy for me. You know, I lived
Yeah,
there
me
for
too.
I lived there for all of 6 months. Moved there for a girl. That's a whole other thing. Did not work out, obviously, because I was only there for 6 months.
Hey, shit happens, man.
Yeah, but no, it was it's a cool city. It's a small, I say it's a small big city, you know.
Yeah.
Like it has its moments, but when you're a small town guy like me and you have to drive complete offense all day every day,
Yeah,
it's not really my cup of tea, you know.
yeah.
But
I'm not a
definitely
city
cool.
boy either.
Yeah, no, definitely a cool place though. I definitely want to go
Mhm.
back eventually to see the place. But yeah, no, and see Chris Paint
Yeah,
Shop.
I'd visit.
That's where
Yeah.
he lives. Chris is in Corpus, which, you know, I thought
Oh
was wild.
yeah, that's right.
Thought it was wild that I lived there for so long, and now I know him, and I'm like, fuck. I wish I would have known you back then,
Right there.
because I would have.
Yeah, but they have all those strict laws there. You couldn't keep a lot of the stuff you keep now.
Yeah, no, and it was so when I was there, they had those laws, and I had no idea, like zero clue when I moved there about these laws. I
Yeah.
had multiple carpet pythons shipped to me in Corpus, like multiple, not just like one or two. Like I'm talking
Yeah.
5, 6, 7
Well, who would have
carpets shipped
thought,
to
you
me.
know?
Yeah, like I didn't think anything of it, you know. And then all of a sudden, like I got a job at the PetSmart out there. And just because like I couldn't find work anywhere else, so I, you know, got there part time. Sure. And I was like, yo, why aren't there any ball pythons here? Like everybody, all PetSmarts have ball pythons, and they're like, you can't have ball pythons here. And I'm like, oh fuck, like
Oh yeah,
I need to not talk about the stuff that I keep to people.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, but I mean, I doubt realistically someone would be like, "Oh, I heard this guy's got carpet pythons, so I'm calling the cops."
Yeah, no, it's one of
I
those
wonder
things.
how big of a deal it really is, you know.
It's not
But
it's
not
not
worth
like
testing it out.
no, it's not like on a federal level. Like it's literally like it's a county ordinance, you know. It's
Right.
not like the cops are gonna come pound it down your door, you know. It's
Right.
like it's a county ordinance thing. So it's, I don't know, not condoning it. Like if you can't keep stuff in your city, don't keep it. Like always be
Right.
conscious of that. I'm not condoning doing this. Like I said, I had no idea, but by the time I did know, I wasn't gonna sell all the crap that I had just bought. So
well, no.
Yeah. And plus, I was still a semi-new keeper back then, but you know, that's is what it is.
Back in the day.
Back in the
Papayan days, or
oh man, people never forget.
You had to do it. You had to do it.
well,
No,
I've been listening since the beginning, you know.
Yeah, no, man, nobody's brought that
long time
up
listener, first time caller.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was wow, that was a long time ago. But no, that was back when I called them IJs and strictly Erie and Jayas, you know, like I didn't know them as Pop Wins.
Oh, it's all good.
didn't know them as Papa, so we started the podcast. And
Call
back
them
then,
IJs.
But I
Michael.
just,
We're gonna call
what
them
was even
Brian.
more funny is Smitty over there not saying anything, like looking like, is he just playing? Or
yeah, nobody said anything. I'm like, then finally somebody was like, "Yo, who's the dumbass saying papaya?" And you know, and I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
you knew this the whole time. You didn't say anything.
I thought I was saying it wrong. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, no.
This is the
Thanks
it
for
said like that?
version.
Thanks for bringing that up. Now I'm going to get a bunch
Yeah,
of
sorry,
memes
just
from
a little
somebody
jab.
again. Yeah, no, everybody that one kind of fell off, and I finally was not known as the Papayan guy. But
Finally beat it.
yeah, no, that's going to come up again. Oh, jeez.
I've already explained I've already told my side of the story. All right.
Yeah, your side of the story is you're a douche, and that's all there is to it.
We will do better.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there. That is,
You know, that was like almost coming up on 5 years ago.
that's
Holy
crazy.
shit.
That's crazy,
Wild.
man. Yeah,
Wow.
if you would have told me 5 years ago we'd still be doing this on episode 178, I'd been like, yeah, okay, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very glad it did, though. Very glad we were still here.
Boys to men.
Yeah.
No, I always enjoy listening to you guys.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks,
bud.
man. Yeah, glad to know you've
Yeah.
been a listener since day one, man. That's
Oh yeah.
I feel like we don't have like a whole lot of those anymore. You know, we've got a handful of people that really, heard us from the beginning, but I feel like most of our listeners kind of, they go back and listen to all the old ones. But
No, I'm just like a lurker, I'll just put something on and I'll do something. So I don't like comment a lot and stuff, but I'm always listening.
Nice, man. Love it.
He's
Definitely
always watching.
definitely appreciate the
It's like
support,
the
man.
sleep paralysis
Yeah, no problem, man.
demon thing.
Like Santa Claus.
Lurking. So did you guys? I'm sorry. My dad came. He got a corn snake from me that he was keeping at work, and it wouldn't eat consistently, and so he wanted to come trade it for another one. So
Oh, jeez.
he decided to. I don't know why he decided to show up at 8:30, but. Did you guys talk about collection stuff yet?
Yeah, no. So he's
no.
he's very similar to you, man.
He likes nothing but awesome stuff.
No, well, I mean
Yeah,
that,
pretty much.
but also the first things he ever produced were Condors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know you produced
I
corns
produced
as like a kid,
chondros,
but
and then ball pythons the same year, and the next year I sold all the ball pythons. But yeah, I bred chondros 4 times, but only 3 times successfully. In 2014, I was going through like a bad custody battle, divorce. So I just sold everything. I sold everything in 2014. And my current wife that I'm with now, she remembers some of the snakes that I had, because she was kind of like at the tail end of it. But she said, well, why don't you just get another snake? And so in 2018, she bought me an Amazon Trebo for my birthday.
Nice.
And from there, I just I was like, I could do this again.
Yeah, all gas, no brakes.
Oh yeah. I just went between 2018. And so I was still on Cam's from Bushmaster's mailing list, because I used to get stuff from him wholesale and clean it up, because I have a vet friend here and she'll just come to my house and she'll help me out with whatever. She's an equine vet, but she likes to learn new things. So she comes over and checks my animals and gives me the meds I need, and then I'd keep the ones I wanted and I'd sell them, sell the ones I didn't, and that's how I kind of got some money to put back into the hobby, because things get expensive, but it's just crazy over the last 2 years how the prices have gone, I think Cam on Bushmaster, I used to be able to get garden Amazon Trebos for $20 and coloreds for $60. And green tree pythons, I could get BX for $175, and any other locality was $225.
Holy smokes, man!
Yeah,
that's.
But
nuts.
he wouldn't send me any pictures. He just said, order over $500, put money in my Chase bank account, and then they'd be at my house the next day. It was so sketchy, man.
No, I mean, I don't think you're in that part of the industry as long as he's been, and not be, at least for the most part,
Yeah.
legit and easy to work with, and so.
Yeah, and let's face it, if you're getting bulk animals, you're not going to get a picture of every single one of them. So that's definitely
no. He wouldn't even look at the animals because I would get him and they'd have ticks on their face and mites and some of them would be really rough, But I was prepared for that, When I first got into it again, I said I'm going to start off with all my imports first, and I'm going to get them all cleaned up, and then I'm going to start cherry picking my high-end stuff, and I'm just going to quarantine in my room before I bring it into the main room. And so that's what I did. I just started amassing a collection like that.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it, man.
I was able to kind of think about it before I went into it this next time. Before I did the kind of Noah's Ark thing where you just get like twosies of everything,
Right.
We all kind of do that.
Yeah.
Well, you also think you were in a kind of a good position having left it and we're coming back to it because you kind of knew where you would want to start there. Like if you think about it, like if I completely restarted from zero, knowing what I know
now,
like there's a lot would probably be different, like
absolutely.
Things would not be the same, I'm sure. But
and I'm fortunate up here too. Like there's some really good local guys like Mark Goyer, like that guy is freaking awesome. I love Mark, and then Ryan Young and Nick Mutton. Like these guys are all local to me, like since I've been going way back in the day.
Wow.
So I've known them for a long time. So anytime I came back in, I'd reach out to them and they sell local people animals a little bit easier than some of the other people because it's easy. You can just take it to a show and handshake and move across the table.
Yeah.
But those guys, that's kind of where I went to first to start building my collection again. And then Dayton Croydon, he's in Portland, and his addiction with the Amazons just rubbed off on me. At first I didn't get it. I really liked the Condors and I always made fun of Nick Mutton for playing with his carpet pythons because I was kind of jaded to carpet pythons because of Nick, because there's so many people that has carpet pythons up here. I mean? So he'd never sell them to me, but I bought some Amazons from him. And he's like, why are you going to buy Amazons over carpets? And I told him, I said, well, a lot of people that I sell green tree pythons to, they have a hard time keeping them, but they like that aesthetic of having an arboreal, colorful snake. So if they're not ready, I want to start them off with Amazons first, because Amazons are really hardy. They digest food a lot quicker. They respond a lot quicker to things. Like even if a snake is really bitey, I can usually get that snake turned around a lot easier than I can a chondro.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, their bites, they're so predictable and they're just a nervous snake. And then once you kind of learn that, you can kind of go in there with the confidence like, hey, you don't need to be like that. And let's just kind of move the snake, how you're supposed to, and not just be nervous around it. And the snakes pick up on those kind of things.
Well, I must not know how to read snakes very well, because goddamn, the only Amazons we dealt with, boy, that was not a predictable snake at all. I had one like coming up, like this was one of the females that Justin had when we had a group, and like I was real calm, real easy, and she kind of like started like nosing up to me, just kind of raising her head up. So I just held my hand out, like I'll let you come to me. I'm not gonna grab you. She got close to me and literally just like got to the palm of my hand and just whacked me on the palm. And I was like, you bitch. Like, what was that? Like, you didn't.
That I do have to give him credit for, because that snake completely was like just checking him out.
Yeah,
and
it seemed
in the half minute, like,
yeah, it was completely calm, up to that point, and it was like, nope, you're done. Like, and I was like, well, what in the world, man? Like for me, carpets, they let you know. They let you know when they're gonna whack your shit. Yeah, they're not. They don't mess around. But those Amazons, boy, they're sneaky. They're sneaky, man. I don't know.
They can be, but it just like, you guys have seen the like things I put out on Instagram before of me holding the snakes. Like I think they just build their confidence off of mine, like
Absolutely. Yeah.
I go in there and they know that even if they did bite me, like I'm still going to do what I need to do,
Right. They're not getting
so
away.
it's not really worth it to them anymore.
Yeah.
They're risking more by throwing their face at me than me just going in there grabbing them,
Right. For sure.
That's
So,
that's a species that I've always that's always sort of I've always had a soft spot for.
You've always loved them.
Since seeing there was an article in Reptiles back in like early 2000s that Mike Heinrich wrote.
Yep.
And ever since
I was
then,
a lurker in
so cool.
Yeah, I was a lurker in that Amazon Alliance.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I've had some off and on over the years, and we had our group, and that just went south for whatever reason.
Yeah,
and
that went very far south.
I see some of the ones that our friends post, and some of the stuff you've got, and it's very tempting because after our thing with them, I was kind of like, I don't. It's kind of like Antaresia. Like I was like, I'm kind of done with them. Not that I don't love them, but it's just not my jam, as far as keeping them. But damn it, if I don't get tempted when I see like some of the stuff that people are cranking out now.
Yeah, man, they're freaking beautiful animals. That's what
how many people would kill to have a chondro that stayed red or stayed yellow? That's what I'm telling people. Like, you can get that, and you can get it like super bright. Some of these snakes rival colors of colubrids and venomous snakes,
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm telling people. Like when people say, and no offense, but when they say I have a red carpet python, and you say I have a red Amazon, you know what I mean?
Very different
it's
things.
way different.
Yeah, no, two very different things. Like they're all beautiful in their own right, but let's face it, most carpets, unless it's some crazy morph, they all have their carpets naturally are more ground toned. Like period.
Yes,
like a lot more ground toned. But man, those Amazons are just breathtaking.
It's bright, and that's what I tell people is like, well, it's hard if you just get like some run-of-the-mill import Amazons. You need to get one or two captive bred and born ones that you like, that you really like that color, like a bicolor that's really clean, or a yellow, or a tiger, or a leopard. You will appreciate that animal so much more. You really will. And imports just act different. It's just like an import chondro. They act different. They look different. Like their skin is almost different. Like their shit smells different. Like it's just different.
Yeah.
But the Amazons, they grew on me just because I was trying to get them as another species to introduce people to chondros. And I just fell in love with them because they're easier too. I'm so busy that I don't have to worry about them as much, Yeah,
the margin for error is a lot larger on those than
it is.
Stuff.
It is,
Yeah.
And I've been building this chondro collection up again since 2018. I should have had at least one or two chondro clutches already, but I've had females die. I've had a male die. I've had missexed. It's all those things that you had to go through over again, And so now I'm kind of the point where, okay, last year I had everything breeding, but I saw my boas start to go and I pulled all the pythons, because I was like, I don't have time for all that.
All right.
So this year I'm going to focus on the chondros and the green tree monitors is what I want to focus on this season.
Oh, you keep green tree monitors too. I did not know this.
Yeah. I have a pair of green tree monitors. Yeah. I bought two females and raised them up from babies, but one of them did pass, and then I bought a male. So they're the Sarong locality with the blue on the back, the green trees.
Nice.
Yeah. The male is super pretty, but he's really skittish because he's never really been held. The female, I can hold her no problem. She's pretty easy going. But she's given me eggs beginning of this year, but there's 6 eggs, but they were all infertile.
Okay.
So which I heard is pretty common with the first monitor clutch. you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, and like I always try to, like, if somebody tells me they bred for the first time and got, infertils, no matter what it is, I always try and, like, I know it sucks, but you also
Yep.
have to look at it as a positive,
Yep.
like you
She cleared her system.
you did something right, like
I pulled the
there's so many
triggers.
factors. Yeah, there's so many factors, like, she may have been a little young, just temperatures may have been
Yep.
slightly off. But you did something right, like infertils don't mean anything bad. Give it another year. And sometimes
Yep.
infertils is just a first-time breeder. It's not that you did anything wrong. Repeat the same
Yeah.
steps, because it could have just been she was a first-time breeder, and it is what it is. Infertils are not a bad thing, and I hate how people get, down in the dumps and their spirits are crushed because their first time breeder gave them infertils, like, look, you did something right,
It's
like,
a step in the right direction.
exactly,
Yeah. I also was trying to, I raised a pair of Savannah monitors up, right?
Mhm.
This is also another species a lot of people kind of look as a trash species, but I keep telling people, like, as soon as there's no more to import or they shut down importation, you'll be wishing you had a
Now all
Savannah
of a
monitor,
sudden,
because it's like a
people care.
perfect little compact lizard,
right.
like someone that wants something that's a little bit more than an Ackie, but less than a water monitor. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So I raised two up, and I actually had a pair. And the smaller one, the female, she became super aggressive.
Oh,
So
wow.
the male was awesome, man. Like, I could take him out, pet him. Like, I raised them both since babies. I got them to breed. They were breeding. I was working with this guy, Jay, from, I think it's JCL something reptiles, but he is actually breeding Savannah monitors consistently.
Mhm.
So, and
That's
he's like
awesome.
one of the only ones in the country.
Yeah.
So one day I came home and she killed my male.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, man.
I think she was cycling, at that time, and she was not ready. She was going through vitalogenesis, but she wasn't ready yet. And he kept pursuing her, and she crushed his skull.
Holy
And
smokes.
she's smaller than him.
That's crazy.
So I shipped the female because she was like, I grew her up perfect, only fed her cockroaches, very little rodents, like very good health condition. So I sent her over to Jay to try to breed her. So he's going to try to cycle her and get her going.
Damn,
But
dude.
I like
That's
projects like that, little
heartbreaking.
passion projects that no one else is trying to work on,
Yeah, because Savannahs are one of those things that, like, I feel like a lot of people have a Savannah
Yep.
or something just kind of as a pet, but it's all imports. You really don't see
But
a
they
lot of
just
those
keep it in like a
stuff.
4-foot cage too, and you can't do
Yeah,
that with Savannah
no,
monitors,
you
man.
can't. You won't be
No, I built
successful
like an
doing that.
8-foot cage in my garage for it, with like
Yeah.
sliding glass that you see at the reception office. Like,
Yeah.
it's insulated and everything, like UV.
Damn.
Like, I wanted to try to do it right with them, because when I had reptiles in the past, I had Savannah monitor and I kept it in like a 150-gallon fish tank, and I just didn't do right by the animals back then, and I wanted to try to do it again.
Right.
Like, you just learn from those things.
Yeah,
We all,
absolutely.
yeah. But yeah, so I had the green tree monitors. I talked about the Amazons a little bit. I have Condors. The other passion species that I have is the Dominican red mountain boas. So,
Yeah.
Chilobothris striatus. I got pretty interested in those in like 2019. I saw that Sandra DePintra was trying to sell some, and Harlan had some too. So I was chatting with both of those guys, and that's a huge long story we can get into some other time. But so I ended up buying someone else's animals because there was a whole thing with me and Sandro. But I told him it was kind of like a bet, like, you can't breed these; they're too hard for you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? That's what I needed.
Challenge accepted.
So I went out and I bought a group of 6 of them. I actually bought 4, but my friend Chris Copelli, that used to be part owners of Headhunters,
Yep.
the carpet python. Yeah, so he's one of my good buddies. and he bought 2. And they all came to my house first, and I was going to take them over. And he's like, "No, you keep them at your house and breed them too." I'm like,
Oh, there you go.
okay.
Okay, well,
So
I guess if
guess
you're gonna pull
so.
my leg about it, yeah, I'll keep them.
yeah, but I mean, then I had more of a chance, because everyone
Yeah,
was telling me
absolutely.
that it's not hard to get them to breed. It's hard to get litters sometimes, and then it's even harder to get those litters established.
Yeah, that's what I've always heard is kind of with that entire genus, like getting babies going for the most part,
Yeah.
especially with like
Yeah,
stuff, is really tough.
yeah. They're lizard specialists, and you just have to understand that going into it. Like lizard first, bird second, rodent third. And if
Okay.
you just go in that order, you'll be okay. But if you don't have the resources, then you're just going to kill the snakes if you breed them. You're just going to kill them.
Yeah.
And so I was just talking to Chad down at I think it's Golden Coast Exotics or Golden Coast Reptiles. Can't remember, but he does a lot of his Dominicans are gorgeous. He does a lot of colubrid stuff too, man. Do you guys know Chad?
I think I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, you should get him on. He's a pretty cool guy, dude. He has a lot of colubrids, rainbow boas. He does, I mean, gorgeous Dominicans. But he's kind of just helped coach me through some stuff. Talking to Colin up in Alaska too. He has the reptile barn, I think, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been trying to breed them and is having a hard time. So it's kind of cool that we're all just kind of passing information around, because it didn't used to be like that before I got back into the hobby, which is cool, because back then everyone would like really retain their information. They wouldn't share it with you. And now everyone does. They just share everything,
Yeah. And that's the beauty of where we are now. It's like,
it's different.
We all want success for everybody, because that's how these things are going to get established. You're not going to establish these things in the hobby if you're the only one doing it. Like it's not a good way to be. So if there's good information like that and can share, it's always good, man, because it's one hobby, one family, at least how I like to look at it.
It really is.
It's how it should be. So it's good to see more of that information willingly being passed around.
Yeah, I mean, the Dominicans, they're a really easy snake to keep, and a lot of people will say, like, I remember listening. I've been a long time listener of NPR, and Owen always talks about how dirty and disgusting they are. I just don't think you set them up right. If you're going to keep them on paper, it's probably going to be horrible, but don't keep them on paper. What I do is kind of the Jeff Murray approach, or you just put a little bit of peat moss down and then you cap it with cypress mulch.
Mm-hmm.
So everything just goes down through the cypress mulch and clumps up into the peat moss, and you just throw it out. It's like clumps up like kitty litter. It's easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does a little bit better. It does a little bit better on smell too when you have stuff like that.
But I mean,
sure.
My room is separate from my house too. Like I have to come out onto my porch and then go into the room. So I'm somewhat lucky there, because you come into the room, you're like, oh, who didn't eat the rat,
Yeah, no, there's definitely been days I walk, so like all my snakes are in like my spare bedroom in my house.
Yeah, it used to be like that too.
Yeah, you can tell when everybody took a shit at the same time, or then I walk into the room and I'm like, okay,
the day after you clean.
Somebody didn't eat, like, oh God, this is not good. Yeah. So no, man, the external facility is always a perk, man.
It's just small, it's my room is like 9.5 by 7.5. It's super small, but I could probably fit almost 100 animals in here, including babies, if I wanted to. But I don't like to have I don't have space for more than 50 babies.
Right.
So as long as I can keep it under that every year, I'll be okay. Mm-hmm. And that kind of keeps me humble too, so I don't go crazy.
Yeah. So have you produced Dominicans yet?
Yeah. Actually, this year, the beginning of the year, I had everything breeding. I had 2 pairs of Condors breeding. I had the Savannah Monitors breeding. I had the Green Tree Monitors breeding. The Dominicans were breeding. The Amazons were breeding. And I was like, okay, slow down.
Oh,
I was trying everything out, but everything started just getting into a rhythm, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I need to pull the green tree pythons. I don't want to deal with green tree python babies and Dominican babies at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I pulled all the pythons and I let the boas go. And I saw the boas, you know, all I really do, to be honest, is, you know, my season, I've always realized, is a little bit later than most people's seasons, especially on the East Coast and the South.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people will start lowering their temperatures, maybe, you know, at the end of this month or next month, something like that. I don't really start lowering temperatures until like December and January.
Mm.
But I will just watch the weather. When we do get weather, like storms and stuff, I'll just try during that time. I'll leave the window open, you know, and I'll just pair them up and I'll let the room drop down to about 70 degrees, you know, and it's just, the wind blows in, they probably get a little bit more wind chill. But that really, I think the males really need to get low. You know, I think that's most boa species. The males need to experience some little temperature drop. Females, you can just do it with food, you know, but I think the males, for good spermatogenesis, I think they need a little bit of a drop there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's all I do is I just leave the windows open and I treat everything the same, man. I do like the Ryan Young approach. I just keep it simple. I do the same thing every single year. And, you know, this time of year, I'm feeding them a lot because I'm about to kind of shut it almost all the way off. You know, I'm feeding them a lot right now. In fact, I need to go see Jeff and Kendra and get some more food. But I'll feed them up probably through next month, and then I'll just wait for the storms, shut the food off, and that's when I'll watch them, and I just kind of let the males tell me when they're ready. The males will start cruising, and most of these species, you know, if the male is sitting in a different spot than he's normally sitting during the day, and then at nighttime he's cruising more, even after you fed him once, it's like, okay, something's going on, you know? So then I'll just pair him up and see, okay, well, this female's looking a little chunky. Maybe she's starting to have some ripening follicles. So I'll pair them up together.
Mm-hmm.
And Condors are pretty easy, man. Like, to get them to breed is super easy.
Yeah.
You put them together, like the males usually want to breed. It's just all the other shit that comes with Condors that sucks, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because you get certain, like, it seems like it's almost like there's three different sort of like groups in terms of like when it comes to breeding stuff. There's stuff that it's hard to get them to just pair.
Mm-hmm.
There's stuff getting fertile eggs, and then there's stuff where it's like eggs and everything that come with those is difficult. Like, they're either like, everything seems to be in one of those categories, at least stuff outside of, you know, corns and whatnot. You know, like chondros, it's getting eggs isn't the hard part by any means, but those babies and, you know, the eggs are more fragile than some of the other you know, species where there's less, the window for messing up is much smaller.
The eggs are so
but once
small,
you get that,
man.
But once you get that kind of like that recipe, right, Justin? I remember when at first you were struggling, and then like you really put that chicken down on there, and then you're like, it just like clicked, right?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with these Dominicans. Like, people are trying, like, dude, they're not going to take any live food or anything off tongs right away.
Are you just drop feeding?
So what I do is I have a connect that lives in Florida, and he just ships me lizards. I just sent, like, I'll get like 100 or 200 lizards at a time. And you're going to have to pay like $80 for shipping because I'm all the way up here in Pacific Northwest. So I have to make it worth my while. And I'm like, okay, well, if I do 100, so I send them $180, that's $1.80 a piece. I can work with that, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
It's not too bad, because if you go to underground or something like that, you're going to spend like $5 a lizard plus shipping.
Mm-hmm.
So so you have to really kind of get that set up before you want to breed a species like Dominicans, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I just get the lizards, and what I will do is I may try some live in some of the tubs, but I like to freeze them. I just freeze them, and then I separate out the sizes, and then I'll thaw out how many I want, and I'll put them in the tubs. And for the most part, they will take it by the next morning. most
Okay,
of them.
so it's just drop feeding, just like frozen
Yep.
thawed lizard most of the time.
Yep.
Okay,
Just
Yeah.
drop frozen thawed lizard. Yeah. So,
nice.
kind of bouncing back to breeding them. Sorry, I'm all over the place. So you guys
No,
ring
you're
me in
good.
if you
All
need
good.
to.
No, you're good, man.
Yeah. What was
But,
so like the gestation period on those? Like, how long is that?
Yeah. So, and because I was like guessing, like, okay, I think this is the ovulation. All right, nope, this is the ovulation. It seems like it's pretty similar to Amazon. So it's about 150 days.
Mhm.
I would say from the time of copulation to the time that actually lay is about 200 days.
Okay.
But from the time of post ovulation shed, I noticed it about that 140 something odd days, something like
Mhm.
that.
Wow.
So, I mean, they're pretty similar to the Amazons and most boa species, I think.
Mhm.
What was cool though with the the Dominicans is I knew they have like two hides. I have like two cork bark hides in there, and they can go between the hot and the cold side.
Mhm.
And I just noticed they weren't coming out as much, but I wanted to leave them alone. So I was like, oh well, it looks like they're running dry on water. It's time to get some more water for them. So I went to go get some more water, and I noticed there was a baby in the water bowl, and I was like, what?
No.
So I opened it, and she has all the babies like wrapped up tight and like just looking at me, and most of the babies are like shedding out, and I'm like, when did this happen? Like, has this been days? Like, most boids take a little while after they are laid, like to shed. So I couldn't figure it out, like when exactly they did this. And I was talking to people, and they said, no, Chilobothra sheds as soon as they come out, immediately. So they are born, and then they'll shed out, or they'll be born in shed and come out shedding.
Right.
So I was like, no way. So the first female was a red to an orange, and she had 15 babies, and there was no slugs. But I say that there's no slugs, but I know there's a species that eats slugs, so I don't know if it's been a day or so. That's
Right.
a
If she just ate
possibility.
them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So she had 15. I separated those all out, and I said, the other female's been quiet too. What's the chance of her having babies? So I picked up the hide on her. Same thing. She had 18, no slugs.
Wow.
But what was cool is how they were hiding the babies from me.
Yeah.
That they
almost
were
like
all like
they're
curled
protecting them. Yeah.
up. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it was just weird. Is the only reason I noticed the baby is because it was coming for water, and there's very little water in the bowl, So I was thinking that it was probably going to go back to the mom after it had water. But it was really interesting. I'm like, should I take these or leave them until they shed or what?
What do I do?
Yeah. But of course I took them because I panicked.
Yeah. Yeah. Of
So
course.
you take them and you put them in a tub with a damp paper towel, like everything else, until they finish shedding out. And then I get mom and both moms cleaned up. So I ended up, both of them went, and it was pretty obvious that they were gravid, right? I mean, they were always on the hot side. After there's 2 days, and I'm like, one of these 2 days was ovulation. I don't know exactly, because they didn't swell like an arboreal snake would swell. It was more subtle. So I just marked the 2 days down, and then I started adding up in the heat during the day, and I was just like, I just want to give them a little bit more heat. So I want them to be able to reach, 86 to 88 during the day, if possible. And it was hot during that time, so my room would naturally kind of ebb and flow between that, like about 4 degrees, so it was like perfect for them. They would get nice and hot during the day and then be able to kind of retreat from that at night. And I just noticed the females were staying there forever. And I was just like, well, I expected them to lay in August, and they laid July 30th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was pretty damn close.
Yeah, but I was like, I thought I had 2 weeks, like running around.
Yeah, no, that's the panic. That's how it was with my last my last carpet clutch. was they started hatching. I was like, oh shit! I thought it was going to be like another week or so before they started hatching. I
Like
must
you're
have done,
ready, but you're not. You
yeah,
know?
I must have done my math wrong. Like, yeah, no, I know how that is, man. But that's
Have you
freaking
had a clutch
that's
recently?
awesome. No, my last God, I don't know. Last season I was in between housing. Season before that, I was in a really shitty spot. Season before that was when I had the clutch. So it's
Yeah.
it's
So
been a
just kind
while.
of moving them through. They're getting
Yeah.
settled again.
Yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
while, but I've been in my new place for all of 5-6 months now. So this season's gonna be
He's prepping.
it's gonna be the hard hitter. I'm not gonna lie. When Hurricane Ian was coming through, I was like, boy, I should put these carpets together. But I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's still a little.
It's
still
like
a little
fishing, dude. You just got to
early.
go into it with confidence. You know, like I'm gonna do this.
Boy,
Especially with that, though.
Don't
Like,
even get me started on fishing. All
what's
right?
going to happen? Say you do put them together. What's the worst thing that could happen? Is they don't.
Yeah,
Yep.
I just like I'm still in the process of feeding kind of heavily. I'm about to cut
unless
them
it's all
off.
unless it's all pythons or poplins.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I just like I was still in the middle of like feeding kind of heavily, so I was like, I don't want something to happen when they're still trying to digest and stress and blah blah. So I decided not to, but we're getting out of hurricane season, so I might start cutting off here soon. And next time we get a good storm come through, I may put them together because I can tell my males are getting restless. I'm gonna do 2 carpet pairings, and both very phenotypically matching. So I'm actually pretty excited. I'm gonna get 2 very opposite ends of the spectrums if they go. So
Do you keep ambient with your animals, Jake?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
I did for a while last year because of my living situation. I did keep ambient for a while, but now I do hotspots. My room stays about. It'll drop right now because we are getting some cooler temps. It is dropping down to about 74, 75, but then it's coming up to about 78, 79 during the day. And I give them about an 85 to 86 hotspot. And the females are regulating really well, but they still really want food, like they still are really food oriented. I can tell the males are kind of cruising a little bit more. They're definitely getting there. So I'm probably going to feed them one more big meal, let them digest that, and then I'm going to wait for a storm and try and start putting stuff together because next week we're supposed to get down into the 50s.
Oh, nice.
So
it's a big deal here.
Yeah, no, it is.
I know. I lived in Florida for a while, man. I wore a parka when it was like 60 degrees,
Oh yeah, man. No, 50 degrees. I'm gonna be jacking it up big time.
No, here in the Pacific Northwest, if it's 55 and sunny, people are jumping in the water. I'm not shitting you.
Fuck that. No.
We're just acclimated to this,
Freaks.
Yeah. And it's so funny. Like for whatever reason, I thought you were in California. I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were in California. I don't know why.
Together into one
I live on an island in Washington State. On an island.
No, I had no idea. For some reason, I thought you were in California. But yeah, no, PNW.
No, I grew up in California, but I don't want to live there again.
Maybe that's why. Yeah.
I
think I've heard you talk about it before or something. But
yeah, I've lived in California, Texas, Florida. Washington's my home, though.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, but we're definitely getting close to carpet breeding season. Got a while for the colubrids yet. I'm hoping because I only have 1 incubator. I'm really hoping I can get carpets going a little early and have them hatch before I get colubrid eggs, which based on my last 2 clutches, I think I'll be able to do that and free up my incubator for colubrids coming up.
I don't see why you couldn't.
No, I don't think it's going to be an issue because I think I'm going to try pairing carpets by the end of this month. Thanksgiving for carpets is normally around what I shoot for, but it seems like we're getting a little colder a little earlier this year.
Oh, really?
So I think I'm going to try to shoot for carpets around beginning of November, end of October.
The Farmer's Almanac apparently is saying we're going to have like a real winter this year.
Yeah, we're going to have a cold winter. I can already tell you that.
Which we haven't had a cold winter, I feel like, like a solid winter that arrived on time in a while.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's been years in the past where we were down here, we were wearing shorts on Christmas Day.
Yeah,
like
Wow, no thanks.
Yeah, no, it's a
It
very
really
real
takes
thing.
away the spirit of the holiday when
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's spring outside.
Yeah, no, and it's so funny.
Sweating on Christmas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I'm telling you, like and it fluctuates so much. We'll have a week of, because with us, it's not as like you guys still get it up there, but because it's just cold all the time. But with us, it's whenever we get a rain when rain comes through, we get a warm front. Like right before it rains, it gets warm, and then once the rain goes through, it drops like severely, and it pretty much continues that cycle until January, and then it's just cold.
Wouldn't you like to know weather?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really not gonna be dropping the colubrids down until end of December, start of January. I'm gonna cool them through February and see if a 2-month drop will do them good. But the carpets, if I can get them down, if I can get my room down into the mid 70s, I'll be happy. Which lately that's actually hasn't been a problem, but come this next month, it really won't be a problem. So I'm really hoping I'm going to start the food cycle process. I'm going to give them about a month off, or I'm going to give them a couple weeks off of no food, and then let them digest and all that. Then I'm going to start pairing them up and just see what happens. I'm one of those with carpets. Carpets are easy, man. I look at them kind of like Amazons. Like I always like with boas and pythons. I see carpets more like Amazons, and then your emeralds more like green trees kind of deal.
Yeah.
And carpets are super easy. You can almost food cycle them and not drop temps at all, and they'll still breed. But I like to give them a little bit of a drop, just kind of stimulate it. So hopefully my room will drop a little bit next week. Feed them up.
A lot of things will go without doing a lot of triggers,
Yeah.
But we just
if the vigor is there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I have a male that'll breed a piece of rope. So I'm not.
Oh yeah.
I'm confident I'll get at least one. But the other clutch, my female, for whatever reason, she's been giving me really bad sheds. And she's getting kind of old, so I'm wondering if her age isn't catching up to her. So we'll see. I'm gonna try her out. She's still eating great. She's digesting fine. She's just giving me really bad sheds the last 2 sheds. So I'm kind of
that's not a good sign.
Yeah, no. So I'm wondering if I might not be just drying out because I let the AC run in that room. So I'm gonna add a couple humid hides and see if that helps. Maybe let her shed one more time before I let her go, just to make sure she's doing well.
Oh yeah.
Everything's fine other than shedding. So like, even though that's one thing, it's still like kind of got me on edge. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, because it could be something super simple, or it could be more internal, and the shedding process is just like a result from something else that's going on.
Exactly.
It's hard to say.
What's the process with Amazons? Like, what time of year do you start sort of getting them?
So I always will try the green tree pythons first, between like December and January. But I'll keep the green tree pythons if I really want them to breed. I'll keep them together off and on the whole year. I'll just keep removing them and pairing them back up, after I feed them. With the Amazons, I've noticed that it's really, for me at least, it's right in between like January, March is really when the boas want to breed. Just because that's when it's nice and cold here too. We get a lot of rain during that time as well. So I notice a lot of activity with my animals that January to March time frame. But I'll push it, to May or whatever. If I don't see something and I really want that pair to go or something, that's probably what I'm going to do with my green tree pythons this year. I have a male that I produced in 2011 that I bought back when I got back into the hobby. So I really want him to breed. He's a Wamena Jayapura cross, and he has a couple Jayapura females that hopefully will be pretty receptive this year. They were last year, but I don't know if he got the job done. So I'm going to get him a little colder this year and try for that and see what happens.
Do you know what's in terms of the size of your female Condors when you've paired them, roughly any weights or ages on them?
No, I mean, I don't weigh them. I would say like if if they're coiled up, they're probably about the size of like a grapefruit,
Okay.
Yeah, I keep, and that's why I like the Jayapuras. They stay a little bit smaller. I have
Mhm.
an Aru from Ryan Young, and I have a Biak, which are almost like as big as some of my adult Jayas, and they're only like 4
Mhm.
years old.
Yeah.
But the females, I like to get them to about 5. I don't think they look ready at 4. And
Mhm.
it's just, if you've bred Condors before, it's like it's not worth the risk. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna wait
Yeah.
until I see nice fat reserves and the animal looks like it can carry enough eggs. So
Mhm.
I've always been an advocate of age over anything else. Like
yeah,
maturity goes a long ways, because like my first clutch, my female was, I mean, tiny. She was
yeah,
for a carpet, she was 4.5 foot. Like
sure.
granted, Papuans aren't big, but she was also
My
5 years old.
Dominicans are about that size breeding.
Yeah, so I think that the whole age and maturity thing goes a whole lot farther than,
Well,
obviously you need to have some weight and fat reserves
Yeah.
and all that,
Well, the
but
age, yeah. I mean, the Dominicans are
it's
4.5 feet, like I said, but they're 6 and 7 years old.
exactly like that.
Yeah.
To me is prime,
the
like
reason
that's
I
all the money.
ask about the weights in particular is because I bred the Beox, and that's what the bulk of my collection was for, the first like 2 years was nothing but Beox. And so I don't have much context in terms of like breedable females for stuff that aren't Beox.
Yeah.
So I have like, my female from Brahms and my two, well, thought they were two. One of them is a female, one of them's a male. I got them from Luke,
Nice.
and they're 2019s. And I mean, they're not very big, but
Yeah.
the female Beox that I bred, like she was massive.
She was huge. Dude.
So it's like, it's kind of
Yeah.
hard. Like it's hard for me to know when
They
those
don't
other
need to
ones
be
will be
that big.
ready.
I think that, I mean, if I were
But
to weigh,
I don't want to risk it either. Like you were saying, like I don't want to chance it. Like I do want to breed Condors again, and I want to breed Condors
Yeah.
again badly. But
I
not
think the
at the
first one I
expense of the
bred,
female.
she was probably around like 650. She wasn't huge.
Okay.
She was like 650 grams. I know, like, I really read Greg Maxwell's book, and he's like, they need to be 1,200 grams.
Yeah.
But I didn't see that,
I don't think
and
some of them
I
can even get
knew the
that.
age. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
too big, But there's a lot of the things in books that are outdated now, and I'm sure if you talk to Greg Maxwell nowadays, he would agree that no, they don't have to be that big, But
Well, then it's
that
also
book helped me a lot,
you have Gary, and he had that tiny female Arfac that bred
Yeah.
and gave him eggs, and I
Mhm.
was like, that thing isn't that's not a big snake.
No,
like, at
the
all.
small snake that I had gave me 17 healthy eggs, no slugs, all perfect, like perfect.
Yeah.
Last
And
time
that
I weighed the female from Brahms, she was, I think, around the 400 gram mark. And like I said, I don't like to go off grams either. But like I
Mhm.
said, because I don't have much context in terms of the size of females that aren't Beox and gigantic,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna continue to wait and wait and wait. And it's like I could have bred her like 3 years ago because she, down the like in the future, I could have been like, yeah, I could have totally bred her because like she's maxed out now.
Right.
But I didn't know she
but
was
I mean,
maxed out at the time. So
you'll know too, like when you see the snake and she has good body weight and she just looks like what the size of a chondro egg is now. So like, how can that fit
They're
in her
small,
comfortably?
Right.
They're
Yeah.
small, but they'll hold like 17 of them.
Right. Yeah, that's
like,
a very good point.
and they're a small snake to begin with, so it's a lot of work for those females, and that's how we usually lose them, is breeding them.
Yeah, and it's also the fact that, like, you also get problems with big snakes, if they're overweight, if they're, because we all know this by now, there's absolutely such a thing as a snake that is too fat.
Absolutely.
And if they're too big, then you're going to have just as many problems breeding and getting healthy eggs if they're really small.
And that's part of I don't feed my chondros a lot. So mine are probably on the smaller side for the most part, so it's like I said, it's really hard for me to gauge with what I have that isn't a Beox,
I think it's safer to just go low and slow with everything. I just take kind of the Nick Martin approach on that. Like I have friends that you can breed Amazon super young Like I have friends that have bred them at like 2.5 years old,
Wow.
but I don't think the female should be doing that. Like I think 3 and 4 is safe for an Amazon. I think 4 and 5 is pretty safe for a Chondro, and I think 6 and 7 is pretty safe for Dominican.
Mhm.
So, and that's why the Dominicans just take a little bit longer to get to sexual maturity because, even at 4 or 5 years old, you look at them and you're like, they're still babies.
Yeah.
Like they don't look like they can carry at all. Even this year, I was asking people and they're like, they're a little small, but they did awesome.
Mhm.
They did great. They bounced back. Like it looked like I could probably breed them again if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that.
Do you think the live bearers versus the egg layers, like the females seem to do better when they're smaller in that regard versus
I think so.
smaller chondros that do eggs or something else that does eggs in comparison?
I mean, I just kind of take that Nick Mutton approach and I just don't get my animals big. He's always kind of beat it into me like, you should not do that. You should not do that. You should not do that, So he has a lot of, success, and I've just kind of taken his approach, and I pick things that I like from Ryan Young too. Like I keep my room ambient, but like on my breeder Amazon cages, when I see a female ovulate, I just put a 30-watt light bulb in there. They have a little light shroud, and I just change the LED one out to an incandescent, and that's their source of heat. I just keep it simple, like I'll use herp stats on my incubator that I built and for the chondros, but everything else just is ambient and it has cheap thermostats on it. And, I just keep it easy and simple.
Yeah. What have been your average litter sizes for the Amazons?
Amazon's a little bit smaller. I would say 7, 9, something like that. Yeah. So we'll see, coming up in the next couple seasons, I should have some pretty nice ones ready to breed. I have a lot of red ones that I've been kind of stashing away.
Yeah, dude, your reds are nasty, man.
Dude, that super dark Halloween you popped out not that long ago was.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
I love the Halloweens, too. Man. I know that they just end up turning into gardens.
I don't care what anybody says, man.
They look cool as hell.
But look at it this way, okay? And this is what I have to tell people. A garden Amazon, people just think that's a normal, right? I think the yellow is normal, and I think garden is a form of exanthism.
Okay.
And people, when they start to see it that way, it changes something in their mind. And they're like, okay. So we're trying to figure out now, because these two phenotypes are present in the wild, it doesn't mean that there's nothing genetic about it, Right, it could just be that those dark ones are successful in the wild, but I think it's recessive. I think the Halloween is a recessive trait.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, like I don't know a ton about Amazons, but even just because it's a garden phase doesn't mean it won't throw reds, correct? Or is that
so
wrong?
We're starting to learn that, yes, in a sense that we think Amazons just have a ton of, like us, like we have so many genetics that we breed with 2 people and you can have a big outcome because the genetic pool is so huge.
Right.
So I think there's just so many Amazons and all these different colors and patterns that, you can get lucky, especially if you're working with imports. But I think a lot of the captive bred stuff that we have now, if I were to take a red and breed it to a yellow, most likely that yellow is not het red. You know what I mean? So I'll just produce normal looking snakes, mostly yellows and oranges that are het red. Red and calico, we're trying to figure out if they're separate, if there's 2 different kinds of calico. There's a lot going on with Amazons that a lot of people don't know about, and Noah Ingram from 2x2 Reptiles, he's another awesome guy. And then also Taylor Gilbert, he's down in Florida too, but he's really good with genetics, and we really try. We want to figure some of these things out, There's always been a lot of questions. I've talked to Abby Mulvastudo about some things. Yeah, that's a Rory Gresco animal right there.
Oh, yeah.
God, dude, those things are insane.
Yeah, that one's from Brandon Christ.
Yeah, Brandon's the man.
So that animal right there is a dark grove bloodline, and it will probably turn out to be a really like red and orange bicolor. So that I like the Amazons too because they do go through that ontogenetic color change.
Yeah, there's a big shift.
Hey, you guys need to wait. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, kids need orange. All right. Yeah, that's like a high contrast
see, I love
Halloween.
that. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What in the
Badass.
world, man? See that right there makes me want to keep Amazons. Like that
Yeah.
that alone. I love the dark stuff. Like, you know,
But
reds. I've always loved reds and blacks, but man, those super dark Halloweens.
Yeah,
Holy
so I want to
smokes.
concentrate that black, and I'm gonna try to breed back to mom. If I'm gonna sex those two darker ones to see, hopefully one of them's at least a male, because if I can produce more babies that have, I know a lot of people like the orange, but if I can get less and less orange, then we'll have a darker snake eventually.
Right. Are you sexing them when they're like neonates? Are you waiting a little while?
But I'll just probe them. They're way hardier than chondros. Like chondros tails are so thin and delicate. Amazons are like twice the size of a neonate chondro when they first come out.
This is that really dark one I was talking
they're
about.
about like the yearling size, you know. Some of them are even bigger. So I'll just wait till like now I can like all the Amazons are eating pretty well. I just wait till they've eaten and shed a few times, and then I'll sex them. I just have to bug my wife so she can hold the tails down for me.
Yeah, I love how they're dark, and then you got the yellow eyes, and you can see it in the background on this one right there.
That's nuts, man. That's wow.
And so that was a pair that I raised up from Cam that like the mom that had those babies, like I remember pulling ticks off her face, and she wouldn't breed for me at first, but I was just determined, you know, like, all right, I'm gonna slam her with food this year, and then I'm gonna drop her, and then I'm gonna put the male with her all year long until she has. So that yellow one right there, we don't know if this is a yellow calico.
Certainly looks
so it looks like it. A lot of people are really curious about this. So my buddy that lives here, Dan McMillan. Do you guys know Dan?
Yeah, I know Dan.
Yeah, so Dan, he's friends with PSP and stuff too, but I've met him through them and up here at Northwest Carpet Fest. He has a female that looks very similar to that yellow calico that I'm calling a yellow calico. So we're going to try to see if that's reproducible. But yeah, that's a like extreme calico, the one you're looking at now. That's the one I call freak show.
Golly, dude.
It looks like a burn victim in the best way.
That is that's
like a little
insane,
black over the eye, you know, like it's sick. You know, I was just fortunate. I reached out to Rory. Jeff Godbold hooked me up with him before he put his list out. So I was one of the first ones that was able to pick from those litters. And I was curious why he didn't hold that one back, but you should have seen his holdbacks.
Yeah.
He had some tigers that looked very similar to that. They're a tiger calico.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cool snakes, man.
What size setups are you keeping the adults in?
I have cages of all different sizes. I have like boa cages that I keep the Dominicans in. They're 4x2 by 18 inches tall, I think. And then I have some old herptastic cages. I have some bars cages that are like 2x2 by 20 inches. And then I have some 3x2x2s that are animal plastic cages. And then I have a lot of like the 66 quart animal plastics tubs racks that I use for some of the smaller adults.
Okay.
And then I have Big Sky Reptiles made me a whole bunch of like condo cages. I really like those that you can just kind of like, you know, like look around and see a whole bunch of them.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I like the condo cages.
That's freaking awesome, man. No, I haven't
Yeah,
looked
but
at your page in too long, man. Those Amazons are just
yeah,
freaking
so freak show.
nuts.
I have
Holy smokes.
probably 3 females that are going to look similar, not as extreme phenotype as freak show, but like I have one called Bloody Mary, and that's like my dream pairing. So hopefully everything goes well. But it'll be a couple years before I could even try that.
What's interesting with Amazons, at least that I've noticed, maybe in the last, I don't know, probably inside of 10 years, is like they're not. The number of people keeping them isn't as big as it used to be, but the people that are really focused on them, like the quality and what is being produced now, is so far like light years ahead of where it was.
Dude, they're almost chondro prices now. It's crazy.
It's nuts.
Like, do you know how much people offered me for freak show? Chondro prices.
Gee whiz, man.
Yeah, I mean it's cool to see that, but luckily I have friends and we do like trades and stuff, because I don't know how I would get into it now. It's so expensive.
Mm-hmm. It's just interesting now because it seems like I said, like it's the number of people keeping them seems like it's really focused down and sort of like filtered itself to where it's like the people that are really like in them, they're they're going, they're in it. They're not. It's not just like some random stuff they kind of picked up at a show and they enjoy them. It's like, no, like I'm focused.
They're obsessed with them. Yeah, I am. I love them to death. They're just super easy. Like I very rarely get bit by Amazons. Like I do have a couple that are just, that they're going to be dicks and they're imports, but the majority of them, like, even if they came to me kind of pissy and nervous, like they're pretty chill now. Like I can go in there and they'll come out to you, like, but if you just kind of keep going and don't hesitate, they're not going to bite you.
Yeah. You notice the difference though between captive bred stuff and imports in terms of
absolutely
like chondros?
Yeah, it's night and day. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where, I think we had one that was captive bred, but I think that's kind of where our problems came with our Amazons. The group that we had is they were all imported. Like we had one, the girl we called Phoenix, she was freaking insane, dude. She was a beautiful animal, but she was imported.
She's like a tricolor.
No, she was red.
Really nice red.
Yeah, she was a really nice animal. Then we had the male was kind of more orangey red type of deal, but he was a really nice example of an orange, but again, they were both imported, and they didn't thrive.
Yeah, for what I don't know exactly what went down there, but they just we lost them.
Yeah, sometimes it happens, man. Like. Yeah. I kind of knew it going back into it again.
What'd you say, Smitty?
What's that?
So then Jake swore off buying Amazons with me ever again.
Yeah, no, that kind of, no. After that one nailed me on the palm for no freaking reason, I was like, yeah, fuck these things.
Yeah.
But they're super cool. I think, if I had, I don't know, seeing yours again, I'm like, I don't know. Those are really good looking animals.
Yeah, they're pretty, man. They're and if you set them up right, they'll perch more than they're grounded. If you set them up right. So if you set them up like a ball python, they're gonna act like a ball python. But if you set them up with natural perches, like not PVC, natural perches, like they want to sit on something rough.
Yeah.
My animals, like, they're always perched. Very few of them will ground, and that's normal. Like, it's nothing to worry about. But I come in here, like around this time, usually 6 or 7 at night, and all of them are out. Like, they're all out. And some of the lights are still on in here, but they're all out.
Is there a particular wood you use for those perches?
I just have like alder trees and walnut trees and stuff like that near me, so I just get that. And there's a lot of oak, there's white oak up here, Gary Oats and stuff. So I live in Oak Harbor, there's lots of oak trees here.
lot of hardwood, a lot of hardwoods. You know, I've noticed
hardwood.
that. Like my dad. So this week I sent a picture to Justin of a wood haul that I got from my dad. You know, because he was, you know, he's moving. And my dad does a lot of woodworking stuff, so he had a bunch of random, you know, pretty much big pieces of wood and logs laying around. And I was like, yo, can I take these? And he's like, yo, get rid of them. And I was like, don't have to tell me twice, you know? And so I got some massive pieces of, you know, hardwood. And one of them was like, yeah, yeah, no. But one of them was like, I got this big piece of like, it's like a mountain elder type of deal. And I was like, where did you even get this? Because it's just a beautiful piece of wood. And, he's like, yeah, a friend of mine was up in the mountains and he just brought it back down for me to use it. And I was like, this is freaking perfect, dude. You know, I got some that are like over 4 feet long, you know, that can stretch across a piece of, you know, a big cage, you know. And so I'm super excited to get those in some cages and, you know, get them because,
I think for the most part, most hardwoods, you know, as long as you can see like whatever blows down from the wind, on my big walnut tree, I just collect the pieces and then I'll use them next year, you know, and I just kind of stash them off to the side. Like I cut a big holly tree down and that's what I used in my Savannah monitor cage is a big holly tree, you know, as long as it's a hardwood, you're fine.
Yeah. Let it dry out for,
nothing
you know,
toxic.
a couple months. Yeah. No, that's the big thing. You know, make sure it's a hardwood and let it sit out, you know, let it sit out in the sun for, you know, a couple days, then leave it in your garage for a while and it'll be fine. And yeah, that's what I was asking my dad. I was like, how fresh are these? He's like, I've had these for like 2-3 years. And I'm like, okay,
perfect.
this is perfect. This is perfect. Yeah. So, yeah, no, man, that's something I definitely want to incorporate in a lot more stuff is just natural wood pieces.
I need to get crepe myrtle. I need to figure out when people trim their crepe myrtle trees down here because that is like,
it's great wood.
It's super, it's super hard.
Yeah.
It's,
you know,
I mean,
and
just anything,
everywhere
just
down
little
here
branches, you know.
Yeah,
I just like the way it looks. You know, I still use PVC in most of my Condors stuff, but the Amazons, I only use natural perches.
I use the Manzanita perches that come with the washers and the little wing nut that people get for birds. I use those with the rhinos, and they
freaking
love
them, dude.
They live on those things. And I have at least
love
2
to
in
see
there.
The animals climb.
So I'll put one towards like lower towards the floor and then one towards the top or one in the back that comes towards the door. So they have, you know, different options and stuff. And they use every bit of them, man. They love them.
Dude, you would be so surprised. Like Mark Goyer, I went over to his place and I'm like, why do you have all these hides mounted to the top of the cage, you know? And he's like, well, they're all arboreal hides. Well, I was looking at chondro cages. Yeah. And they're all using the arboreal hides.
We had him on a couple. It's been probably 2 years. Jake, when you were on hiatus, but he had mentioned that, and that was just so sort of bizarre to me to hear that.
It's
but then
cool, man.
Dr. Loafman sent us a picture of his the other day, and it was the same thing. He had an arboreal hide, and it was chilling in that. So
one thing I've been doing with the rat snakes, you know, because a lot of the yellows and grays are a lot more arboreal than, you know, people take them for. But one thing I do is, so I use like a wire mesh to create kind of a platform for them to sit on. And one thing I do, and I stole it from Chris Montross, is I take a paper towel roll and I just put it on top of the wire mesh. And dude, they live in those things, man. Like just being off the ground, you know, it's so simple. It's so easy, you know, but it's just having an elevated hide, you know, for so many things that are semi-arboreal, you know, they want to be off the ground a lot of times, but they also want to hide. So if you can combine those two aspects, man, they'll live in those freaking things, man.
Yeah, you'll never see them.
Like Jeremy Turgeon's his hides for his Amazons. He's got those HDPE pipes that are like mounted to, you know, the tops and all of his Amazon
I used to do that too.
Yeah.
But they will stay in those and you'll never see them. So I'll do that to get like a new snake comfortable, you know. Right. But as the snake gets used to me, I will take those out. I want them to have a small area to retreat to that's kind of blocked from my view, right? Just with, you know, some hanging plants or whatever. But I want to be able to see the animals, and I want them to get used to me too. So eventually I will pull some of those things and kind of want them to be out.
Right, for sure. Yeah,
So,
no,
I mean, everyone has their own ways of doing things, but I'm so busy all the time with my life that I can only be in here so much. I'd love to be in here all the time. I'd live in here, but anytime my kids are bugging me or whatever, like I just hide back.
Yeah.
Like I saw a couple of them and I just shoot them away. Like
It's like the closet
let me
of
do my
Narnia.
thing.
Just walk in there and disappear.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the plan with Condors moving
So
forward?
this year I do have 2 males, but one of them giving me bad sheds and stuff, kind of like you were saying. So I'm not going to probably put him into rotation this season. But I have that male that I produced in 2011. He's older, but he should get the job done. And he has a lot like a blue undertone to him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a Wamina. I wish I still had his dad. His dad, like you said, would breed a rope, would just breed everything.
Yeah.
I got him to breed. I did it in spite of Nick Hutton because he hated hybrids. So my buddy of mine was like, hey, keep this carpet python. I got it from Nick. Nick produced it. And I sent Nick a picture of my green tree python locked up to
That's hilarious.
So he bred the carpet, but nothing ever came of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Carpondros are cool. They're not my thing, but I just did it because I was pissing him off.
Yeah, no. That's funny.
So yeah, man, this next season is green season for me. It's green tree pythons and green tree monitors. The boas, I still haven't had any of them switch over to rodents yet, so I'm just supplying lizards right now until they're ready. I'm trying to do some scented stuff right now, but they're still not interested. But they're eating lizards and they're still growing. I have probably like 3 of them that haven't even had one meal, and they still look super hardy. So yeah, haven't lost any of them.
Have you ever tried wrapping like a lizard shed skin like around a pinky or anything like that? Okay.
I have tried that, and then I just tried like stomping a lizard in a bag and shaking it up, shake and bake style.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm trying that right now too. But I do have like when the nulls, you freeze them off, a lot of times they'll shed. So I just been saving those little bits of shed, and I'm gonna try that again as well. So
trying
to figure out the size too. Like, do they want to eat a fuzzy versus a pinky? Like chondros, you start them off on pinkies, right? But you don't start an Amazon off on pinkies. Like you start them off on fuzzies normally. Like small ones may not take that, but for some reason the Amazons like that little bit of fur. Just that little bit of fuzz.
And it's a little bit of I think it's a scent thing, like with baby carpets. The first thing that I do, like first meal offered, is a fuzzy that is completely dried off, like completely and totally not even a little bit damp, totally dried off. And then I rip the skin off the nose. Like the dried fur does a lot for scent particles, and then ripping that little bit of skin off the nose really does extra for getting the scent out there.
Yeah, it's a good trick.
Yeah, I've been 20 for 20 on first feeds with baby carpets, like rock and roll right off the rip. Carpets. Yeah, well, a lot of
if I have
not
an
everybody
Amazon,
has that.
Sometimes the Amazons can be a bit picky too. Like I have one that's only eaten twice. So what I'll do is similar to brats, Dayton like peels the skin on the nose back. I just take scissors, dude, cut the nose off, squeeze the head so a little bit of brain juice comes out, and that's what I feed it. I want it to be super hot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, make it nice and warm. Make sure it's really dry. Do a little cut. Rock and roll, baby.
Oh, the first litter I had, dude, I was freaking out because I had my chicken down and I had my hot pinks and my hot cup of water, and I could not get any of my Amazons to eat. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is how you get Condors to eat, like, why isn't this not working? And I hit Dayton up and he's like, what? He's like, no, dude, feed it a fuzzy. And then as soon as they get fuzzies, get it onto rat pinks. Okay. And I'm like, what? They could eat that? Like they're teeny,
Yeah.
They can.
But yeah, dude, they could take big meals. Yeah, boas could take big meals.
Yep.
It's surprising.
Yeah, carpets are the same way, man. You can
You can get them. You can give them surprisingly big meals. I know. I'm so like conservative with giving him really fat stuff, but I've got stuff that I still feed extra large mice to that could probably take a medium rat if I really pushed it, but like I'm just like, wow, I don't want him to choke on this thing, man, but like I sent Billy my Xanthic female Popwin, and she was on like extra large mice, and like a couple weeks after I sent it to him, he's like, yeah, dude, she's on medium rats. And I'm like, what? Like, are you kidding me? But no, it's
that's what happens when you have
like my Dominicans. They're like on small rats about that size. Like that looks like a good meal for them, but they'll eat jumbos. If I give them a jumbo, they will eat a jumbo, and it looks like a huge meal. Dominicans are interesting too. When they hit something, they wrap like their whole body like a king snake.
Like a king snake,
right?
Yeah, and then they'll hiss like they're happy or something. It's weird. They hiss when they're like excited.
Yeah, that's
so.
crazy,
And they have like
man.
pitch black mouths too. They're a cool snake.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Oh yeah, they do, don't they?
Yeah. And they have a dial color shift. So from day to night, they'll look different. I remember when I first got my females in, I was kind of disappointed because I'm like, these don't look like the pictures, dude.
They're not red.
Like, these are pretty brown, Well, and the females are orange and pastel. And he's like, just wait till nighttime, wait till they settle in. And the next day at night, oh my God, they were freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, man.
It's so crazy how drastic that changes, It's super dramatic from day to night.
Yeah.
You planning to get into Jamaicans or anything similar in that group?
Yeah, since you said that, I've actually a couple of my friends actually reached out to Vanessa Crutchfield, and she was asking people who would be good candidates to give a pair to, and people recommended me. So she reached out to me and she said that if she has some next year, that I'll be on the list.
That's awesome, man. Congrats.
Yeah.
That's such a cool species.
So she's like, if you bred 2 striatus your first season and both of them went, I'll let you have these. So I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. I'm sure that made you feel freaking great too,
Yeah. Well, it's Crutchfield's kid,
Yeah.
That's freaking cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's always a good feeling when, somebody's like, hey, like, I know you're a good keeper. I want these to go to you, That's always
because she knows I've always showed interest in them, but that was super flattering when she's like, no, you're on the list.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, dope. Because that's the only way you can really get them,
Yeah.
So and I need to figure all that out too, because I think I can get them and breed them and sell the offspring in state. I need to ask her, but I think that's how it works.
Talk to Rob Stone breeds Jamaicans, doesn't he? Talk to Rob.
Yeah,
Rob Stone.
I'll need to talk to
he's a great outlet.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
If you talk to Jeff too, Jeff Murray, he'd know as well.
I don't really talk to Jeff, but I'll talk to Rob.
Yeah, Rob's a great outlet for all that, and he loves all those, man. I'm pretty sure he works with Dominicans and Jamaicans, as far as I know.
No, I really like the way Jamaicans look, and people again told me that those are hard to keep and breed and all that, so it appeals to me a lot. I really like. For me, I have to like the physiology and the structure of the snake. Like the head to neck ratio is big for me. I don't know why, but I don't really like a lot of snakes that look like worms.
Not in the sand boas, then.
Yeah, like sand boas, and my kids have like milk snakes and stuff. I'm not into it, but the house snakes, I think those are cool looking. They look like little pythons to me.
Yeah. You like a little bit more definition.
Yeah, I do. And people think like the Amazons are too skinny, but I like that phenotype. I like the way that looks.
Right.
So
you need what doesn't look like a worm and is awesome? Beard rats.
Bears rats. Dude, I didn't even know what a beard rat snake was until I listened to this show. They're pretty.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, so
cool.
Donovan
And that and
Winterberg.
thorn scrubs. I was like, what the fuck is a thorn scrub?
Those you don't need to know anything about.
That sounds like it, you know.
If it's
I
between
don't
those
want
and
any
bears, for the
either.
love of God, do bears. But Donovan Winterberg just released. He did a drawing of a Baird's.
Nice.
He was selling prints, and I bought a print the other day and had him
Nice.
sign it. I don't know when it's supposed to get here, but
They're pretty,
Dude,
man.
freaking pumped.
He does some
Those Loma
odd,
Altas or whatever.
Yeah.
dude. The Mexicans are really like catching my eye, man. Like, I want a
Mhm.
nice pair of Mexicans. Like,
Get
But
in
for
line.
me, if I were to go colubrids, it would be like spilotes or bird snakes or something
Rhino rats.
arboreal.
dude, those
Rhino rats,
those-
I do like rhino rats. I think those are cool. I like Boega, you know,
You
stuff
will
like that.
sell
But
all of your Amazons in a heartbeat
No,
when
he
you get
won't.
your rhinos.
No, he won't.
no, no.
He said,
No.
good joke.
I think they're cool, but I don't want to keep rhinos right now. You know,
Ugh.
Yeah.
I only have room for so many animals, and I like them all to be like super in my face.
You don't
like
have to have a
bright
lot of
colors.
physical space, but you better make room in your heart because they're going to take up all that space.
Nah.
You're gonna be
I
pushing
actually
stuff
like
out.
them though. They're cool.
They're amazing.
Barons are better though.
Hey.
I'm just kidding. I actually like rhinos. I just had to say that.
Damn it.
Okay. I don't not like barons, all right? I like barons.
Yeah.
Rhinos are cooler though.
I've decided as of like yesterday that I'm going to stick to my rhinos and the barons is going to Skylar with Jason Keller's permission and blessing.
Yeah.
Because I was like, do you want this back or should I see if Skylar wants it? He was like, I don't care. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So the Barons is getting evicted at some point, and it's because I need the cage that it's in. It's in a Bio-G,
Sure.
and I have my smallest male rhino is going to go into that when the Barons leaves. So,
But see, this is also why we bounce off each other so well, Smitty. You do the Condors, I do the carpets. You do the rhinos. I'll stick with the Barons.
for the record, I also was like, "You want this male Barons for real?" Because he's been talking about it since I got it.
Yeah.
Like, man, I really want a Baron. He's like, "No, I'm good." I was
Well,
like, "Are you
that's-
fucking kidding
That's
me?"
only because I've already committed to a pair from Keller, and the last thing I need is an extra male that's a year.
You might need that
older.
extra male. It's always when you buy the pairs that the male is a shitty ass breeder.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah.
Always.
it's done now.
You're probably right, but
Too late.
I'm okay with it. I'm comfortable with it. Now, if I wasn't getting the pair from Keller, I would have said
Dance
hell
card
yeah.
is full.
I would have said hell yeah, give it to me. But since I just literally like 2 weeks ago, I committed to a pair from Keller, so I'm limited. I'm getting very limited on space as it is. So I certainly don't need another snake that's going to get pretty
I'm gonna
freaking
give
big.
you all 3 of the thorn scrubs that are left.
I'm considering selling my adults as it is, so I don't.
Don't.
I do lie though, because Chris Capel, he had 2 clutches of rhino rats. He fucked them both up. If he was successful, I may have got some from him. But
Change your
yeah.
life.
they're cool looking snakes, that's for sure. I don't know
Yeah,
about changing my life though.
No,
That's the
no.
Amazons. They touched my soul.
These rhinos will go a step beyond that. I
Yeah.
don't know what that is, but
And based on how you keep things, with the ambient and stuff, it sounds like rhinos might be right up your alley, man. If
They
you wanted
probably
to-
would.
They'd fit right in. So.
I need to figure out.
I don't keep
way-
frogs anymore though. Don't they eat tadpoles?
They will.
I
Or
mean, they
fish.
will as babies. Yeah, that's just to kind of get them started. See, they're right up your alley too, because babies are like a pain in the ass to get going. So
Lizard
they
feeders.
they
Yeah.
fall right in line. You're already getting
They
lizards.
got
and
the
stuff.
Dominicans and the Condors. Oh, they're kicking my ass right now, man.
Yeah,
The
man.
Dominicans.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get them on rodents so bad. I have
Yeah.
so many people want to buy them, but I won't even like put prices on them until I know what's going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, that's
So-
another reason why Barons are better, because you can keep them in the same tents and then they'll take rodents right off the rip. So
Yeah, that is an advantage.
I never see mine, so
that's
guess
because
what's out all the time, no matter if it's a baby or one of the adults. The rhinos.
Yeah, but you're
Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna.
That's right.
I'm not gonna say
They're
nothing.
pretty
What?
bold like that.
You're
Oh,
no,
yeah,
you
yeah,
keep,
they
but
do
your
Nice.
your Baron's is a bit smaller, and he's in a pretty decent sized cage, and it's not nearly.
False.
It is not nearly as filled up as your rhino cages are.
False.
Eh,
You'll see, because I just moved the small female into one of the Bio-Gs, and it's like the same setup as the Barons.
same size too.
Yep.
Same
And
snake.
homegirl was cruising and checking out her new setup and everything. That Barons, I saw him yesterday for the first time outside of his cork tube since I actually like took him out and handled him the other day, like a week ago. So, nah.
Yeah, well.
I'm starting a new podcast called Dipsadids and Dipshits. And you could be
that is
the main
awesome.
host of that one.
I'll be the dipshit.
You and
Son of a bitch.
you and the crawdaddy can sit there and pine over Barons all you want.
Yeah. No,
You
dude,
still
I
have
really
scrub pythons, Jacob?
I still have a
It's complicated.
yeah, that's
It's complicated. I like scrubs, man, but damn,
yeah,
they're too much snake for me.
Yeah, I still have a lone southern, but he's been I don't know what's going on with him, man. He hasn't been doing too hot. So I've kind of dropped the ball on that with the scrub thing. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
Yeah, they're definitely I don't know. It just he's not doing well in my room. He's really not. And that's pretty much the only reason I'm not pushing scrubs a little bit more is like I really thought it would go well with the carpets, but like for whatever reason it just is not mashing in my room.
Sometimes that happens though, man. Like I really wanted to breed. I was breeding dart frogs and then I had to move them into my snake room and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
You know? Sometimes like you just can't keep a species in the room for whatever reason, you know. They just don't like it. It's too dry, too hot, too cold.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell you why. I did everything under the sun to try and make sure he was good, but he is just not. He's not thriving. He's not shedding right. You know, eating is hit or miss, and you know, I was always told, you know, treat him like a carpet, just a little bit more arboreal, and that's what I did. And like
more hatred,
just, way more hatred. Good God. But he's just not doing well. So I'm trying to figure out, you know, what I'm going to do with him. He's kind of just hanging out in the room at the moment. So
what dart frogs were you keeping?
Well, I was breeding the powder blues and the cobalts, the tinks.
Nice.
Yeah, I really like the tinks, the big frogs. You know,
I never had any. I always wanted some powder blues, especially. Like I think powder blues are probably one of my favorite.
Dude, my powder blues, I set them up in this. It was like a paludarium kind of thing, you know, but it just had like a pond, and they would just breed all the time. They were so prolific for me. You know, I was like giving them away at the end. You know,
yeah,
that's how my Vitatus were.
Yeah,
but it was cool to see them go through their changes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to breed the Azurius, but I kept them. I kept the mints, but I never bred those two species. So
apparently mints are getting really hard to find right now, from what I've heard through the.
Well, I'm also fortunate because up here he's not known anymore. But Darren Meyer used to be one of the biggest dart frog breeders up here in the Northwest. So like he's bred so many species. He still has mints that are they're piebalds. They're like green and yellow or green and orange. Yeah. And a lot of he was deep into it. He was just like this old hippie dude with dreads. But yeah, I mean now he just focuses on like carnivorous plants. That's his thing. But he does breed some of the frogs here and there. But I was always fortunate, you know, a lot of the big guys, they're up here. So
yeah.
It's odd that you get those pockets. Like Maryland has like a lot of the Condor guys, and Texas has a lot of the Condor guys. It's just odd that you get these weird.
Not very many Condor guys up here, you know.
Yeah.
Not very many.
Yeah.
No, Mark Goyer, Ryan Young, but he's in Idaho. Sandra DePentro was here for a while. We got Jay, Tucker from Purple Rain. You know, he's breeding stuff. Jay Taylor, he had one or two clutches. He's done some Southern White Lips too.
Nice.
So it's just kind of sporadic, you know. Yeah. Oh,
And
Julian Garcia. He is an old school chondro breeder up here, but he got back into it too, and I've been in contact with him.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
That we're just up
That's
here.
nice stuff.
That we're just down here where like the reptile scene is like not good. Like
Do you have
Really?
any designer stuff, chondro wise?
Nope. Everything is just mixed heritage or locality. Yep. I never really jumped into that. I was
Yeah.
just like, you can do that yourself if you just
Put in the time.
if you just
yeah.
line breed yourself. Like you can do that. It's just going to take you longer.
Yeah.
right.
And that's where everyone else came from. So
I
I'm
think it's
like I
honestly
said,
like more fun that way though. Like
Yeah.
when you have stuff
It
like
your
is.
own.
when you have
I'm
Wamena
not a
or some of that other
trendsetter,
stuff.
like, or I'm not into all the trends. So I just kind of do my own thing. Like everyone's like, oh, designers, they have to be blue or black. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think so. Like I
They're
like the
not
high
10
yellow
grand.
stuff, to be
I
honest.
don't want it.
Yeah.
No.
But I mean, with the Jayapuras, I'm probably going to get some blue stuff out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, Wamena is one of those localities where you pair it into stuff and it just does some. It's like Biak. It just throws weird monkey wrenches into the mix and makes some really just interesting
yeah,
stuff.
I mean, that's what I did when I first got into the Condors again. I just bought all females. Just, I got Jayapura females, I got Biak females, got Aru females, so that I have choices and I can outcross my Jayapuras, and that's, people don't realize, like, the animals that you first buy, that's not necessarily your breeding stock. Your breeding stock comes from those. And that's where you start, okay, this is the direction I'm going to go, this is the direction I'm going to go, and that's kind of where I had to restart all of that. But it's fun and interesting to get back into it. I love hobbies like this.
Yeah, man.
For sure. Well, we are at that over 2 hour mark. Is there
Witching hour is Phil and I call it.
Is there any
that went quick.
any other defining questions or points you want to make, Smitty, before we wrap this sucker up? We touch about everything.
So.
Yeah. Well,
I've had a little bit of everything. I've even kept like saltwater reef tanks and planted fish tanks. I like all this kind of stuff, man. But snakes is like my passion.
Yeah, I'm a low key, like, I don't keep any fish. I used to when I was in Texas. Kind of got into the fish thing for a while. So like when you brought that up, I was like, ooh, we might have to talk about that for a minute. But
no, the saltwater reef stuff, I was like addicted to coral, like high-end corals.
Oh yeah.
And I did that for like 3 years in between being in reptiles, and it just didn't fill the place in my heart, that void in my heart that reptiles did,
Yeah.
So I sold everything and got back into reptiles.
Yeah, for sure, man. The fish hobby is just friggin' that the whole side of the whole sector.
I can go off on that too.
Yeah, I never got into saltwater stuff. I kept, some freshwater stuff and for a little while and did some tanks, but that's neither here nor there. Fish are too much work for me. I don't have time for that.
Yep. So, I know. I told myself I'd never do another water change, and I just put a 75 in my dining room wall. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. But hey, man, if anybody wants to find you or contact you and pick your brain about stuff, where can they do so?
Instagram, man. If you guys just go on Instagram and type in my full name, which is Randy Pegues, Smitty's got my name down on the screen here. But Randy Pegues is what I go by.
Randy on it first, and this random dude popped up. It wasn't you. I was like, who is that?
Yeah, no, you got to look up my full name on Instagram. On Facebook is more of like family and personal stuff. So if you add me, unless I know you, I'm probably going to ignore I have like a collection of people trying to add me on Facebook. But Instagram is where you could find me, and I love chatting snakes and reptiles, all that stuff, fish, whatever.
Awesome, man. Well,
just not construction. No, I'm just kidding.
Anything but
I'll just leave that out of it. That's real life bullshit. Yeah. But well, man, thank you so much for coming
thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Yeah, this has been a great episode, packed full of information, no awkward pauses in the middle of it. So that's always a good thing.
Just made it awkward.
Yeah. Yep. I like to talk about snakes.
Yeah, man, this has been a great episode. A lot of fun, a lot of good information. So,
And it was brought to you by BlackBoxCages.com.
yes, sir.
Check them out. You need a cage, you need a rack, hit them up. Don't be whack.
Get stacked.
Yep. And then get some hot sauce while you're at it.
Yeah.
SteveSnaketuary.com. Order you some. It's for a good cause. So hot it'll make you pause.
I still have, so I'll throw it out there now. I'll send somebody whenever I produce some carpets. I'll send somebody a carpet if they send me if they post a video of them licking Steve Snaketuary hot sauce off a black box rack or cage.
A dirty
Do
one.
it.
Sure. Yeah.
Not clean.
The dirtier the better.
Damn right.
Authentic.
Yeah. But,
Well, everyone.
All right,
have
guys.
a
Well, you have a
evening,
good night.
morning, good day.
yeah.
We'll see y'all later.
Yeah. Thank y'all.
It's only 7 here, so I still got night. I'll see you guys
Oh,
later.
man. Thanks, man. Bye.
Later.